the protest, the blackout, and our Best of Redditor Updates, new update. Greetings, members of our Best of Redditor Updates. By now you have probably heard a lot about the open letter about API pricing. Some of your favorite subreddits may have signed up to protest when we cross-posted the letter. Plenty of people were confused about what API even is, how this pricing would impact them, and why it was worth talking about. Since then, there have been a number of posts about this very subject, all explaining better than we could. Subreddits like r, explain like I'm 5 have highlighted in an easy way to understand what API is and why this change is a problem. r, ask historians have explained in detail why so many mods are upset and, frankly, disillusioned. In the wake of the admin announcement, to a lot of people, the API changes are not a big deal. If you use the official apps and have no issue navigating it, that's great. You may not have known that third-party apps existed, or why people prefer them. If you're wondering why people can't just use the official app, we can acknowledge that for many users it is simply a personal preference. They're used to it. Some of us have been using them for years before there was ever an official app. Or they might simply prefer it because of the designs and features. If you're interested in a visual representation of why so many prefer third-party apps, please check this our best of comment out for a side-by-side comparison. For mods, the mod tool support of these third parties largely makes our jobs much easier, which keeps the communities we all love safer. On a third-party app, we can accomplish in 2 clicks what would take the official app 5. This efficiency means we can address more problems in the community in a more timely manner. If you're thinking to yourself, if these apps are making a profit, Reddit deserves a cut, we do agree. What we take issue with is that their API is being valued at 10-20x over what other similar services do, to the point where almost every app has released some kind of statement that indicates these changes will kill their apps. I could link to more statements like that, but you get the idea. Before you ask, why can't they just run ads to offset those costs? Reddit has already decided this will not be an option for third-party apps. One thing to be aware of as well is that even if a third-party app manages to survive July 1st, through a subscription-based model alone, those apps will not have all the same content as the official app. Namely, despite paying for the privilege of having a choice, NSFW content will be unavailable and invisible to those users. If you're thinking, well, I'm fine, I only use the mobile website via my chosen mobile browser, Chrome, Mozilla, etc., you should be aware that Reddit has already been testing functions which eliminate mobile web browsing, and there is no guarantee that your preferred method of using Reddit won't be next. Limiting user choice, charging exorbitant and predatory fees, and refusing to communicate are all significant problems that the BoRU team takes issue with. However, the one we find most egregious is what this change will do to members of Reddit's blind community. How are blind Redditors impacted by this decision? In short, Reddit's official apps leave a lot to be desired at best, and are barely functional at worst. The app on iOS has incorrectly labeled controls, doesn't always work with swipe, and not all functions can be accessed. For blind moderators, it can be difficult to impossible to find the moderation functions necessary to moderate, and customizing layouts to better suit their needs or make the app easier to navigate is similarly difficult to impossible. Third-party apps have addressed many of these types of issues because Reddit won't, giving these underserved communities a voice that Reddit seems to have no problem taking away. You might ask yourself how blind users navigated Reddit before there were apps. And the answer is that it didn't always used to be this way. But it has certainly always had accessibility issues. In fact, Discussions about accessibility have been going on for months, if not years. Just a few months ago, Reddit received a free consultation to make their mobile layout more accessible. Reddit did not follow up privately or publicly until the protests' momentum started to build. Even after numerous, far more recent interactions with the admin, there seems to be little progress or commitment concerning these issues. This type of interaction is exactly why we, the BestofRedditor mod team, feel that Reddit is not making accessibility a priority. Subreddits like r/blind are vital for the visually impaired in various stages of blindness, providing not just a source of communal support, but insights, strategies, and resources to navigate their new and changing lives. In the wake of Reddit's changes, subreddits like r/blind will be forced to go dark, leaving an already overlooked group without the invaluable support they both need and deserve. These changes will also significantly impact volunteer-run support subreddits such as r/transcribers of Reddit and r/description please, which serve to allow visually impaired Redditors to read text images and receive descriptions of visual content such as videos and images. These volunteers are indispensable to the blind community, because Reddit is the only social media website with no support for alternative text. As visually impaired Redditors are forced to use an app that is not designed with accessibility in mind, these communities will shrink, wither, and may cease to exist. See this video for more details on this subject. For many of us, third-party apps are a choice or a preference, but they are an absolute necessity for the visually impaired. The BestofRedditor team is of the opinion that pricing these apps out of existence before their own app is WCAG compliant is nothing short of passive discrimination. The mod team of BestofRedditor, and many others, feel that July 1st is an unrealistic timeline to make all the changes necessary to make their app accessible. At this point, the only reasonable course of action is for Reddit to publish a public list of key results that they are committed to addressing, and guarantee that third-party functionality will be left unchanged until they do. Here at BestofRedditor we take steps to try and ensure our content is accessible. We ask our contributors to provide image descriptions and to transcribe text images. Sometimes transcribing those text images can take significant time, especially when those images are numerous multi-image text exchanges. Our ops have never complained when we make that request, even though it is not an official requirement. We find it inexcusable that Reddit cannot do the bare minimum to ensure their visually impaired users have a voice and community. Frankly, disabled individuals are often expected to pay a premium for the same basic things everyone else uses and enjoys for free. Visually impaired Redditors deserve equal access, and even if third-party apps survive, they will not receive it. Those users will not have access to all of the content and features that the rest of Reddit will. Remember, NSFW content will be unavailable to regular users on third-party apps. And yes, disabled people like porn too. So what does all this mean for our Best of Redditor updates? Some of our mod team do use third-party apps, both for casual browsing and for moderation. Others don't. For us, this is not just about our personal preferences. It is about standing in opposition to ableism and making sure others have a voice. We have had many comments and mod mails asking about the position of Boru's mod team. We wanted to discuss these matters internally ourselves first, to make sure we were on the same page before we made any sort of announcement. Now that we have, the mod team of our Best of Redditor updates is in agreement that we should join the Blackout on June 12th. We are prepared to remain blacked out for a minimum of 48 hours. This means that no one will be able to access any BestofRedditor content until the blackout is over, in standing up for the voices of others. However, We don't want to strip away the voices of our community. So now we want to hear from you. If you support us in this decision, please share and upvote this post. And comment with your support. How long will Boru's blackout last? Pending further developments. After 48 hours we will reassess the situation, taking into account what new statements have been released, how the protest is evolving, and what our users want. Consider yourselves supported in this decision, for however long it lasts. Do we know how the API changes will impact RSS feeds? I keep track of this subreddit, and all via RSS feed. I can't see my browsing increasing if they kill RSS. As for the official app, I'm visually impaired. I have a very strong glasses prescription. I have most sites zoomed in to at least 150%. The official app doesn't allow you to increase the font size, and as such I can barely read it. It sucks and hurts my eyes. 100% support it. Cannot believe they don't realize that they're essentially axing free labor while still being unwilling to hire accessibility engineers. I am not blind but suffer from severe auditory sensory issues and use several third-party, unlicensed apps, programs, etc. to make my life livable. We are not thought of during development, but always a post-dev update. It is beyond frustrating. Disabled folks deserve to do all the normal, menial things that everyone else gets free-range access to. Ranting aside, I'm behind y'all for as long as this blackout lasts. Fully support. Go beyond 48 hours if necessary. I will miss you guys and my favorite sub. We as moderators are unpaid and unappreciated hamsters running Reddit's wheels so they can rake in the dough. F that. I am only on Reddit for BORU, and check multiple times per day for new posts if I'm bored. I'm 1,000,000% supportive of this. Resetting my addiction to BORU is overdue. Anyways, open mouth smile. I am not blind, but I do have several invisible disabilities. I appreciate that BORU is taking a stand against ableism. Change only happens when we stand up and speak up for what we believe in. Also, I think it was skipped over, but a lot of bigger subreddits requires use of stuff like Automod or other bits, which all requires access to the API. I'm in. Do I just stay off Reddit entirely that day? I definitely support your decision. I hope we can all make a difference in this case. Fully in support of the blackout. I support this decision, a perspective that might be useful to some people wondering why they should care about accessibility. Unless you die suddenly and relatively young, you are very likely to be disabled at some point in your life. One day, you will probably need to use a disability accommodation, and you'll be unhappy if it's not there. It benefits all of us to work toward a society that takes all kinds of accessibility as a given, because nearly all of us will need it eventually. I support this. Reddit needs to allow third-party apps, and it is unacceptable that they're trying to take away valuable services for visually impaired people. So I still don't fully get what an API is. But I really hate it when big companies try to screw little ones. Which is what I think is happening here. So you have my support. Edit. A lot of great people are giving me some great metaphors, but I'm still not getting it. Can I request a Pokemon-based metaphor? That's how I learned to understand the Kalman filter in college. Fully support. Go for it. Their actions are going to hurt a large part of this community. All for an increased bottom line, the fact that they haven't released or discussed any details for support for blind users is especially disheartening. If this is the only way to make them pay attention, then that's the way to go. I fully support this. If Reddit kills third-party apps, I'm no longer touching this site on mobile. Accessibility does not get talked about enough, and it's incredibly important to provide not just equal, but equitable access to information. Fully support this decision. Thank you for actually explaining why this is a problem. Most of the other Blackout announcements I have seen have been either completely missing any context or imply that it's simply about people's preferences and/or hate on the app without explaining why it's a problem. As someone who does use the mobile app and has no major problems with it, I found the whole thing a bit confusing before, but now I understand what's going on and why this protest is important. I'll miss this place, but we're all on board for the Blackout. As long as it takes. Monday about to start the most productive work week I've had since I discovered Reddit.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Aircast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.